Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the A3U Review.
In this episode, we're going to take a look at masterpiece scale versus some of our more popular third-party masterpiece scales.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting segment because I'm sure a lot of you guys wanted to know how are they going to compare with each other. And then following that, we are going to do another comparison, and that is between Shockwaves. We got the third-party FansToys Quake Wave with the newly released Takara MP-29 Laserwave. So anyways, we got a great show for you guys. My name's Alex.
I'm Boris.
And you're watching the A3U Review. So for this first segment, we're going to talk about scale, and I'm pretty sure that this has been a topic of discussion for a lot of collectors because, well, there's been masterpieces, and then there are third-party masterpieces, and they kind of go together and they kind of don't. We're going to find out right now.
One of the big questions I always get from customers that don't see the third-party blur out of the box, obviously everyone knows Hot Rod just came out, which is amazing Takara masterpiece.
Oh yeah.
This is the only official piece here. And they want to have it with blur. They want to see it with blur.
Yeah.
And they're always wondering, is it in scale? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
It's very hard to tell. But now that blur is out of its package and you actually do put it together, he kind of feels a little larger, right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to show these kind of things on the episode because in our store, we actually open up a lot of this kind of stuff for display. So it's very easy for me when a customer comes in and asks me, I just go, hey, look at the display. I've got it all open. I even let them hold it and feel for the quality and stuff. So it's really great. But for a lot of viewers out there that might shop online a lot or shop from our site online, you don't get that benefit.
Yeah, you can't really tell just from photos.
Yeah.
So
today I just kind of picked some of the recent ones that I've had a lot of questions about, and hopefully this episode will kind of, maybe if you're on the fence about it, it will, push you over the edge, or maybe you'll be like, okay, thank God I didn't get into that, right?
Yeah.
So the big question, of course, was a lot of people had purchased the DX9 carry. They had also purchased the DX9 buzzing, which is the blur, and the Rodimus.
Yeah.
Now, alone, without the hot rod here, you can see that I think the scaling is not too bad, right?
I agree. I think that these two go quite well together. They're both really good sizes.
Yeah.
Like not too small, not too large, just the right size. It almost feels like this is their masterpiece scale for these companies.
Exactly. And it's actually a very cool scale, and I really like how the DX9 carry is.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that it transforms into the full Rodimus.
Yeah.
With the trailer, or the Winnebago, whatever that weird thing is. So it scales well, together, but, if you are thinking that, hey, I'm going to have this amazing display with Hot Rod and my Rodimus and my blur, and hopefully Cup will come out at some point, I'm afraid to say it kind of is weird. In this scale, it's it's kind of like it dwarfs it, right?
Yeah.
If you're going for that kind of accuracy in scale, it might not, hit the tempo. That's not to say that any of these figures are not good, because actually every single one of these figures here right now are amazing. And
Yes.
I believe they're a must-have for your collection.
Yeah.
They just don't look super great when displayed together.
Yeah, these two, of course, we already know, we've already talked about it, these go well together. They are great products. This guy, I still have to have this guy.
Yeah.
Just because, wow. They did a really good job with this. Takara, they nailed Hot Rod. It's almost like you gotta have all three, but display this guy in a different shelf.
Yeah, maybe you have your Takaras, and then your third-party masterpieces together.
That's right.
But you know, even from third party to third party, there are a lot of scale differences. I'm not going to show too much of that this episode, but in future episodes, I think I'm going to start doing this for some of the ones that get asked about a lot more.
Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit. Now you know the format. We're going to move on a little bit quicker through the other ones, but let's take a look at the Voodoo Robots version of Ratchet, the Salus, and MP-30, which is Ironhide, of course. And then also a recent figure, Inferno, that came out that, we always see Inferno, in the G1 cartoon along with those guys. So a lot of people ask because they came out together, they like that collection of their first responder vehicles. Let's take a look.
So here they are. And the only one that's official Takara is this guy.
Yeah, that's the MP-30. This is Ironhide. This is the Voodoo Salus, which is the Ratchet. And the Make Toys Hellfire. Now, scale-wise and look-wise, even though they're from different manufacturers, this set actually looks really good together. I show this off in my store a lot when people ask about it because they actually look really great. One of the things to note is that Takara Ironhide, we already reviewed this.
Yeah.
It, by far is like the best value. Like if you did not get this guy, really recommend that you go and pick him up. There's also, of course, the MP-30 Ratchet that will be coming out.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people say, well, why would I get the Voodoo Salus when I can wait for the Ratchet?
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, in terms of styling, it does have a little bit of different styling to it, and also a lot of people do like how it's styled. I love the waist section in here. It actually isn't, as G1 accurate. However, just the proportions and everything, it's really cool. And for those that are out there, I get a lot of customers that come into the store that actually don't like to buy duplicate molds, even though it seems like a given.
Yeah.
You get Ratchet, you get Ironhide, you need Ratchet from Masterpiece. A lot of people don't buy things that way. They actually like to check out new molds. So if you're one of those collectors, this is actually a very great piece to have because it's a nice way to have a different mold as well as a great complementing figure that actually goes really nicely with the MP-28 Ironhide, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like why I kind of brought this up. And then the Hellfire came out recently too, and I like this whole first responder ambulance fire truck thing.
These guys go well together, even though they're two different companies.
Yeah, exactly. They go really, really well together too. I love that the Hellfire still keeps this very G1-esque look, but it really matches well in not just size, but even though the designs are different, it still goes well together. If you saw this on someone's display, in their house or whatever, I'd be like, wow,
I'd be impressed.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And another really great figure, by the way. If you don't have them, even if you don't have the other two, definitely worth picking up.
So I guess we can all agree that this scales really well with all these other third-party characters.
Totally works for me. So there you go. In case you guys wanted to see something like that, I know I get asked a lot about these ones. So there it is. Let's move on to actually something that's not Masterpiece scale, but has been collected a lot recently, which is the Legend size stuff.
Let's do it. So now we have something a little bit different. Not Masterpieces, but in some ways, third-party Legends class.
Yeah, this is another scale that people have been collecting recently because of Iron Factory as a big name out there, and the DX9 A War in Pocket series has really driven this, and obviously it also booted from a Hasbro Takara line, which is like all of the Legend sizes that they have that played really nicely with the large Metroplex. So a lot of that inspiration is there for collecting these mini guys, which is, sometimes having some of these mini, there's something to be said about, when you see all those very small miniature dioramas and stuff like that. Something about smaller scale sometimes looks really uber cool. So this is one of those times when I think the Legends line from the third-party companies have really gotten really far in terms of detail and build and quality. And I wanted to show how it stacks up. A lot of people always ask me, does the Warren Pocket line match with the Iron Factory? And I know a lot of you guys out there have seen the earlier pieces. Some of them actually do match very well. I want to take a look at like the latest, which is the DX9 Hulky, the Devastator, and how it compares to some of the more recent notable Iron Factory Legends figures. And you know, these are two lines that actually do intermingle quite well. Even up to the latest figure right now, it actually works very well. If I saw this on a display, I would, you know, likely think that, hey, it's kind of a similar collection, and not, unless I looked really closely, wouldn't really know right away that, hey, that one looks like it's made by a different manufacturer. If you are into kind of this Legends line, there's actually a lot now, which, I mean, I've seen collectors that have like shelves full of these little guys, including some of the Hasbro Takara versions of you know, their Legends, and it looks really great when you're selective about your pieces. You know, I think for all you guys that are collecting this kind of stuff out there, now's kind of the time.
Yeah, I think that this is a really nice scale to start collecting or get into, because, like, look at them. They're detailed. They're a good size that doesn't take up too much space. I mean, that's always an issue, not having enough shelf space. So if you want all these characters, you can fit them all into a shelf, and on top of that, they're high quality products. So I think this is a great line. When you look at these as a whole, like a bunch of them, they look good. This is a scale that you might want to consider if you haven't started looking into this.
That's right. And yeah, that ends our segment for the comparisons. But like I said, we will look at future scale differences and, you know, kind of mixed collections. So, you know, why don't you tell us in the comments below what you'd like to see, you know,
for the scale comparison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Video together. And yeah, we'll do it.
We did scale comparisons earlier. Well, now we're going to do another comparison with masterpieces, and that is the newly released Takara Masterpiece Laserwave. We're going to compare it with the FansToys Quake Wave, and also this KO of a KO Astro Magnum.
That's right.
Yeah, Astro Magnum, which is like basically another version of the Shockwave.
Yeah, just very unofficial because it's all plastic.
Yeah.
And it was a knockoff of that mold.
Yeah, and we basically just have this for size comparison because we don't actually have the original G1 Shockwave for comparison. Exactly. But essentially, it's the same thing.
And yeah, very, very much the same styling as well.
Yeah. So, first thing we notice, of course, just from looking at it from the back, height difference. Look at that. What a big difference that a Quake Wave has over the Laserwave.
Yeah, the Quake Wave has this, the middle of his waist that kind of extend a little bit to give him a little bit more of that height. Whether it's accurate or not, I mean, I've had people say, well, Shockwave is actually very accurate if you look at how he stands compared to Soundwave and all that. I think he works well with the Masterpiece scale from what I can see.
Yeah, totally.
I have no complaints. I also have no complaints about the slightly taller Quake Wave. Here
you see more value. I mean, I have no problems with larger figures. I mean, it's bulkier, but he packs a punch. I mean, there's just a lot of robot going on here. As for Laserwave himself, I don't mind the height at all. I think that it's a very, very good height.
How did you feel about the lighter?
Oh, color? Yeah, we got to talk about that, of course. This is super light in comparison, and that's my only major complaint about the Masterpiece Laserwave, because it just feels really, really light. I didn't expect it to be this light. Even when I looked at it in the photos, I did not expect it to be this shade of purple. And with the light gray right next to it for the other parts, it makes it look even lighter. So, I'm not a big fan of that.
Definitely Takara is going for more of a cartoon accuracy for the color. But even at that, there's so many different screens, colors that some are like slightly lighter, some are slightly darker, some are like, it's overall, it's hard to say that it's a good match or not necessarily.
Yeah.
That purple really ranges. But I do feel in person, I have the same feeling as you. Feels lighter than it should be.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's a bad color. It's actually a really nice purple. It
is a nice purple.
Reminds me a lot of the Henkei Cyclonus.
Ah, yes.
Back in the day. That hat was a little bit more pale than I thought it would be. But it still worked out really nicely with the contrast.
Yeah, and maybe we even feel this way because we're having it stand next to this dark purple Quakewave.
Yeah, they're very, very different purples. So, I mean, if you're not a fan of a very light purple...
Yeah.
I don't know. This might rub you the wrong way.
Well, I'll tell you something that I do like about this. The styling. It looks really nice. I really, really like the way this one looks. And even compared to this one. This one does have its pros, but it's very boxy. It's very, very, blocky in various parts. It's very bulky in the legs. It's bulky in this backpack. But this one just looks like the G1 Shockwave. And I'm very impressed by the mold. I'm very impressed with all the little details. I really like the way he looks, and especially something that's that really stood out to me was the way they had the barrel of the gun on his back, whereas these guys have the tail end of his gun on his back. So I'm really curious how this is going to work in the transformation. Something tells me that it's going to be kind of innovative.
Yeah, I have a bias towards blockier figures.
Yeah, all right.
So I did like the styling of Quakewave a little bit better, just because it kind of has its own thing going on. It is blocky.
Yeah.
I love the little kind of chrome treatment that reminds me more of the toy. But then again, I also really liked the toy back in the day. So this really makes me like the Quakewave slightly more in bot mode.
Yeah.
Also, it's got this heft to it.
Yeah.
It's got the die cast, which makes it feel very, very, very nice to handle. But in terms of what you're saying about the actual refinedness of the refinement of the Shockwave, I agree with you on that. It's definitely got a lot more character to it. It's got a lot more curves, a lot more design cues that not only match the tune, but kind of give you a little bit of a more harmonious feel to it. Another thing I wanted to point out is the tubing. Yeah. One thing that I really liked about what they did with the MP-29 is this kind of slinky.
Oh, that was cool actually. You could see production value there.
Yeah, so it's actually very small little coils. So it is essentially like a slinky, right? Yeah. And because of that, when you move it around and whatnot, it's not as rigid. As you can see, the tubing just kind of flows, and it's not really tubing, which is what's awesome about it. Yeah. Whereas anything that you move on this, it's gonna be more rigid. You can see that it just kind of moves along its own kind of material. And not to say that that's wrong or whatnot. I just feel like that's where you get the innovation from Takara.
I'm really curious what this is gonna look like in the gun mode. Yeah. So maybe we should take a look at that and let you guys know what we think. So we have them in, what would we call this? Laser gun mode.
Yeah, laser gun.
And they all look similar but very different, obviously, in the colors. But I gotta tell you something. I actually think that the purple, or rather the light purple, works more in the gun mode as opposed to the robot mode. In the robot mode, I was talking about how it feels like too light, but this kind of works, in my opinion.
I love the styling. It is very reminiscent and nostalgic. Of the old version.
Yes, this feels very close to the original. This just feels boxy. I mean, look at this big tail end part. It just feels like a big square, a rectangle rather.
Although it does have some interesting, clever parts. Yeah. In the Quakewave. Yeah. And I do like the finish a little bit better. If you actually look at Shockwave here. Yeah. The back. It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, they left it kind of
a hole there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a nitpicky thing, but it doesn't show as much in Quakewave. Yeah. You don't have the hole.
They're all filled in.
Yeah. You do have a slight hole in the back here. Yeah. Because of just how it has to work.
Yeah.
And as well as here in the front.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, it's, it's not in as awkward of a spot.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I actually find the first version hides it the best. The legs kind of just pull up in it, and really it's the bottom that exposes the holes.
Yeah.
The transformation of the leg on the Shockwave, the official Shockwave, is very, very cool.
Oh yeah.
What a transformation. It makes up the back of the gun.
Yeah.
And the leg. How it actually transforms.
That was really quite impressive.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked how you don't have to take off anything.
Yeah.
To make the barrel as well, as you saw. Does a really good job of that as well.
Yeah.
Quake Wave, that would be the only nitpicky thing, is this part is actually kind of hard to mold.
Yeah.
Get into place, and it does come off.
Yeah.
So if it didn't, then it probably would maybe stick around better without always falling off.
Yeah.
And then it does do a good job of how it handles the hand, where the hand tucks in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the
laser goes in the middle.
The laser goes in the middle.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then it supports the barrel. I don't know which one I like better in terms of transformation, but I can say that I do like this one stylistically more than the laser gun mode. I agree with you. It flows better. It feels like this ended off. And it just never quite got finished near the end here. It just left as kind of a block.
Yeah. One of the things that I also liked about it is that the barrel, not just in the way it transforms, but it's just so accurate to the original shape, right? This was a very it's unique in its own way, but it just is so different, and it's just so clunky, especially during the trying to get it on. But this is just love the way it went on, like from taking it off the back, and then you never actually have to pull it off, and to top things off, the way the arms go in, and then in the end result is this really, really great looking barrel that is so reminiscent of the original. It basically feels like a clean version of this.
Yeah,
so
totally.
like all these things added up makes me like this one a lot more, I think I could deal with the lighter purple.
Personally, though, I do really like the Quake Wave. I will still keep it.
Yeah.
I love a lot of things about it.
Yeah.
But being a masterpiece collector, I kind of feel like I have to have.
You gotta have it.
Yeah, Shockwave. So I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be good in helping you make your decision. They are actually very different figures. But maybe Alex is a little bit more definitive.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. No matter what, a lot of people are gonna like Quake Wave. There is a lot of quality in this particular product, but we're all Transformers fans here. We still gotta have this guy, no matter what. I know I'm gonna get this guy, and I'm gonna appreciate him for all he's got to offer. So, it really comes down to what you like. So why don't you guys let us know in the comment section below which you would end up getting, if just one or all of them. Yep, and there is our comparison between the Masterpiece Laserwave from Takara with the FansToys Quake Wave with the Astro Magnum.
KO, yeah.
Yes. And since we have all these Quake Waves, we might as well compare all the different colors and versions of Quake Wave with everything else.
Yeah, I think I overdid it on my Quake Wave display.
Yeah.
Shockwave display.
So,
but these are all the different versions of the Quake Waves.
Yeah.
I think FansToys definitely went a little bit overboard with
it.
I don't mind. I think it's totally awesome. Obviously, not everybody feels the same way. But I do have to say, all versions of it have their kind of own appeal to it. Then you got the first one we showed, the original Quake Wave, and then this is the darker purple to kind of match I believe it was to match the toy colors.
So this one's toy accurate. This one's Toon accurate.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay, this was Shockwave accurate.
Yeah, that's right. That was a Toy Dojo exclusive. Yeah. A really nice color. I actually love it in the gray.
Yeah.
It's got this like little metallic-y gray that you can't see until you're up close.
Yeah.
I love the clear smoke and everything.
Yeah.
It's done really well. It's a really nice one. And then this clear version.
Of course, every third party has to do a clear version of a popular character, so might as well do that. And it actually looks pretty nice.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites, and it's a super limited piece. So if you can get your hands on it, I actually do highly recommend. I know a lot of people dumped their Quake waves when the official Shockwave got announced.
Yeah.
But a good kind of companion would be this crystal version. I think it's pretty nice if you want something a little bit different. I like it.
Yeah.
And then of course we got Soundwave kind of lingering in the back here to show you the scale.
Yeah, size comparison.
It's pretty good for a scale, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to say that every single one of these guys have their own pros, and it depends on what you like. If you're looking for something official and very G1 accurate, then Takara's for you. But if you're looking for some things for that nostalgic value, for example, if you like the cartoon or the toy more, or your Radio Shack version, then so many options for you.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, a lot of people always ask me what is the difference between all these different Quake Waves colors, and then now you can see them all compared to the Takara version. So really, really great photo op here.
Yeah. Well, that's our comparison between the Takara Masterpiece Laserwave with all the different versions of FansToys Quakewave. And that's our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Today we did a lot of comparisons, and we're going to follow up on our next episode with more comparisons. We're going to be comparing the Ocular Max Sphinx alternate version with the original version.
And then we're going to take a look at the new Springer LG19. Now, I know that came out, I think, a month ago or so. We just haven't had a chance to round up all of them, but we're going to be comparing LG19 with the Generations Springer from Takara with the Generations Springer from Hasbro.
That's going to be a very good comparison. Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comment section below, and also hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, Ages3andUp, and also follow us on Twitter at Ages3andUp. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Peace.